What's up, everybody? Today we have a little bit of a different video. I thought this would be cool, something a little bit different than the usual gameplay, things like that. We have OP-03 Mighty Enemies right around the corner, and I've done playing with a majority of the leaders, so I have kind of an idea of, you know, what to kind of expect moving into things. So I figured I'd just do a quick tier list. I've never done one of these before, and I may be completely wrong with the stuff that I choose today, and basically we'll save it and then we'll come back, say, in a month or two and maybe see what we think different. So probably a relatively quick video. Been on a bit of a time crunch lately. Schedule's been a little bit wacky, but yeah, I thought this would be fun to do. So starting off, we have Ace, and honestly, Ace is a deck that I wasn't even thinking about like checking out, but I definitely think it will be competitive. It's just in general very powerful. It's a red deck. Obviously, red has tons of support. Bandai loves the red decks, and Ace, though it won't be probably quite as, you know, top tier as, say, Whitebeard whenever it gets its extra support from OP-03, Ace still kind of benefits from the same support because it's still a Whitebeard pirate leader. So but Ace is just really powerful with its utilization of events, plus the events that are played in the deck are super powerful. Like Flame Emperor's crazy. What is it, like KO an opponent's character with 6,000 power or less, or 8,000 power or less, and then your leader gains plus 3,000 in double attack for the turn. So I mean, it's things like that paired up with the stuff we got from OP-02, like the super rare Ace character, that just make it kind of crazy. You get Marco, the 5-drop Marco that KOs 3,000 or less character, and then if it's KO'd, you can trash an event to bring it back. It's kind of like the blocker Marco from OP-02. It's just, yeah, I think there's no way that the Ace leader will not be on some sort of competitive level, so to speak. So I think it definitely deserves a spot in competitive here. So the next one up will be Kuro, and maybe I'm just not playing it right, but I've tried to play Kuro a few times for videos, and it just absolutely just doesn't work. I'm sure there's something I'm doing wrong, but as far as I'm concerned, it goes in doo-doo. Kuro is probably the worst leader out of the bunch. That just, I don't understand like why it was even made, to be honest with you. I guess they needed something to fill in a spot, but yeah, I just think it's a leader that we're not going to see much of. It's kind of like the king of OP-03, the same way nobody really used king in OP-01 or Odin. But Odin is actually not horrible. I've played against Odin decks that utilize OP-02 stuff, and it's actually can be quite annoying if played correctly. But yeah, OP-01 Odin decks you really don't see. It's just there's better alternatives like Kid from Starter Deck 1. So we're not going to waste too much more time on Kuro. Just not really worth it. Arlong was actually the first OP-03 leader I played with, and while it is good, I think it will be semi-competitive. I don't think it will necessarily be a top tier deck. I think you'll see kind of maybe some tops with it, possibly, but that's only because of the utilization of the yellow cards. But we have 3 other leaders here that utilize the yellow color, and I definitely think out of all the leaders that can utilize the yellow color, Arlong is the weakest of them all. But Arlong also can utilize green, which can be very heavy on board control. So if you know how to pilot it correctly and know how to go through the proper thought process, I think it could be a powerhouse of a deck. But for now, I think it'll be semi-competitive. I don't think we'll see just a ton of, like, you know, finals with Arlong, but I could be wrong. Again, this is just a preliminary kind of take on things. from my experience. So, and of course, a lot of my experiences, majority of the decks that I'm playing have a main focus on using just the OP-03 stuff, so there's not too terribly much of the older sets in them, so that is kind of another factor to put in there. But I have played some of these leaders with the support from the first 2 sets as well, so I feel confident I can kind of talk about it. Please don't take anything that I say as like a set in stone opinion. I'm very flexible to admit when I'm wrong and things like that. So Nami is the next one up, and basically it's kind of the first like real gimmicky deck of One Piece. And as much as I want to put it in casual because of the gimmick, I think it will be semi-competitive. I think a lot of people will want to take advantage of the gimmickiness of it starting out. I think as the format progresses, we'll see less and less of the Nami unless someone just figures out a way to like really break it. But I don't think it's like on the level of like Ace and a lot of the other leaders that are already existing from the previous sets that will stay kind of in that competitive bubble, so to speak. And so I'm just gonna go ahead and put Nami at a safe semi-competitive. So Iceberg is the whole reason for the not sure. I have not played with Iceberg except for like once or twice, and I just don't know enough about the deck or the leader to be just completely honest with you. Obviously, I probably should have played with him before doing this tier list because it's the only one I haven't played with or toyed with just a whole lot. But Iceberg, I'm not sure where to really put it. So we'll just drop it right there in its own little tier that was made just for it. So Rob Lucci, I actually just put a video out on Rob Lucci yesterday, and honestly, as good as Lucci can be, I'm kind of torn between semi-competitive and competitive, but I think it will be competitive. I think we will see Lucci kind of taking place of, say, Smoker as the black leader of choice. The CP9 support that comes with OP-03 to pair up with Rob Lucci, if piloted correctly, is very explosive, and it can be very much so a formidable opponent. So I think it paired with a lot of the Navy stuff from OP-02, if in the correct ratios and things like that, I think it'll see some competitive play. I could see it dropping down to semi-competitive. I could see Nami dropping down to casual. Same with Arlong. I could see it dropping down to casual, but I think with the utilization of yellow, you know, it could stay semi-competitive. But anyways, let's continue to move forward. We now drop down into the last 3 yellow leaders. The first one being Black Yellow Big Mom. Out of these 3 leaders, to be quite honest with you, I think Black and Yellow Big Mom will be, I think it'll hold a spot at competitive. It's just pretty powerful in its own right. No, wait, I'm confusing it. It does not go into competitive. It goes into semi-competitive. And I can almost guarantee you it'll probably drop down to casual. And even though it can utilize black stuff, a lot of these leaders that utilize the yellow color, the dual leaders, they rely more heavy on the yellow engine, but just because of the way yellow plays. So yeah, Black Yellow Big Mom is a fun leader, but I think it will not see as much competitive play as some of the other ones. Now, with that being said, I will jump over to Katakuri, and I think Katakuri will definitely be competitive. I think that will probably be the yellow one of choice, just because I've played with it, and I've actually done a lot of playing with Katakuri off camera, not just for videos, just for fun. And it's kind of a powerhouse. It could drop down to like semi-competitive, but I don't think it'll go as far as casual. I think it holds a solid spot as one of the better yellow leaders that we have out of OP-03. And this Charlotte Linlin from the starter deck, as much as I want to say it's going to be semi-competitive, I think it's going to see more of a casual play. I'm not denoting its playability. It is a good leader. I just, out of the 3 yellow leaders we have to choose from, I think the starter deck one, like Sakazuki, it's decent if you know how to play with it, but you're probably not going to play with it as much. And I know some people will probably argue and say that this yellow Charlotte Linlin, the mono yellow, is probably a little bit better than the black and yellow Linlin. But again, these are just my opinions, kind of off the cuff, thought process here. So all in all, this is kind of what we're looking at for OP-03. This, again, I'll save this tier list, and we'll come back in say a month or so after the set's dropped and had time to kind of really find its footing in the format. So and like I said, Iceberg, I don't know where it's gonna fall. Kuro, I think it's just a doo-doo leader. I think it's not gonna see any real play. I think some people might play around with it at first, but it's not worth the time, in my opinion. So this Linlin, I may be completely wrong on, and it may be the better of all 3 yellow leaders. I guess 4 if you consider Arlong. And I touched on Arlong and Nami earlier. I think Arlong, it will either jump up to competitive, like full competitive, or it'll drop down to casual. I don't think it'll stay in semi-competitive. But its leader ability is really awesome. I'll try to remember to like pop up the full cards as I go through them in editing, so you can kind of get an overview of them each. So Nami, I think it'll be semi-competitive at first and drop down to casual. Black and yellow Big Mom, it'll either go up or down. I don't think it's going to stay in the semi-competitive. And the 3 competitive ones, out of the 3, I could see Katakuri dropping down to semi-competitive and maybe not really staying up there if people find out a way to play the Linlins a little bit better. But in my opinion, the Katakuri is the better of all 4 yellow leaders here. Rob Lucci, I think, will either stay competitive or drop down to semi-competitive. I don't think there's too many of these leaders that'll really stay casual. Maybe Iceberg will be casual. And then Ace is just going to be competitive. There's no doubt about that in my mind. It's a red leader. It's got great ways to utilize more than just regular counters. And in general, the deck it's Whitebeard Pirates, so it works really well. So with that being said, I appreciate you watching. Let me know down in the comments below if you think I'm just kind of full of it, if you think I shouldn't speak on this because I'm not experienced enough. If you agree with me, that's cool too. So comment sections, be respectful, but I do welcome open discussion. I think this is kind of something that we need to start looking at. OP-03 is right around the corner for English release, and if you've paid attention to any of it in the Japanese release, you kind of get an idea for it. So, and we've had it on the sim for long enough now to have tested with it. So again, I appreciate you watching and listening to me talk about these cards. If you're new here, hit the subscribe button, join the community. We're growing every day. If you liked what you saw, hit the like button. It helps with the algorithm and it lets me know that you want to see videos like this, not just me trying to figure out how to play decks on the simulator. And until next time, I hope you have a wonderful day, and I will see you later. Peace.